Hello and welcome back to Jesse's Vintage Garage, and here in this video we're going to be working on a Linkert carburetor for the 40 UH. This is a M51 Linkert carburetor, and it's the later one. What was it? It only had 3 lines here of scripture.
39 and earlier
Had 4. Okay, so yeah, so this would be a
1940 and later.
40 and later. So this is M51. So the actual 80-inch motors would require an M51L, and the 74-inch engines would all have the M51. Now, the only real difference between the two of what I've ever been able to figure out is just the venturi size. The venturi size is a little bit larger on the M51L for the 40-inch motor, and I'm not too worried about this being a little bit smaller venturi inside there, diameter, and sometimes it's better not to give it too much gas. But anyways, we're going to rebuild this completely, clean it all up, put a bunch of new parts into it, and get it ready for the go on the UH. And the major, this one over here is for the 56 FLH, which we'll be rebuilding that one coming up, because it's pretty good shape, but it just needs to be cleaned up here and there. So that would be a nice, easy one. But the difference between the two and the overhead valve compared to like the Flathead and the early knucklehead ones had this 3-bolt. This would be considered a 3-bolt Linkert. And then the 40 and later knuckleheads and all the panheads had the 4-bolt Linkert. So I just wanted to show that. But when you want to see how a M74B gets rebuilt, that video will be coming out later, because we'll probably just do them back to back here, but not in the same video. But for purposes here, this is just going to be on the M51 for the 40 UH. So let's get started here. So of course, starting off, we need to take it all apart. And I got a couple different float bowls here, but this one's in pretty rough shape. You gotta watch for that. The bowls, they like to pit away and kind of like corrode.
Stored with water in them.
Yep. So it's just a nice spare laying around. I hate to throw something cool like that away. So it's just junk that we're holding on to. and this bowl is a lot better shape. The bottom's all complete. The sealing surface for this piece here, the mount, is in good shape. We'll be putting a different mount on. In fact, I'm going to try to work on talking about parts as we go along. The mount here is a replacement that I may be using by Colony. It's this one here, and this one here is not accurate for restoration. But what's nice about it, and I don't care if it's accurate or not, is the fact that it has a drain hole in the bottom of it. And you can get different ones. You can have a more accurate one, but this one has a little hidden screw up in the bottom where it mounts, and you can easily drain it. Unlike, using this one here and stuff, it actually drains to the bottom depth of the carburetor instead of a higher spot. I mean, some of these bowls I don't think even had drain plugs, but these two looks like they do. So we would have been okay either way. And that kit, you can look for that one. It's a 3121-6. Comes with the mount, the nice copper crush gasket, and then the mounting nut and lock washer, and of course the hidden screw that goes inside the bottom. So we do notice in this carburetor that it has a problem with a little bit of some wiggle room here on the throttle, and that opens the butterfly up so it can function. So we got a nice kit here. We might end up having to replace bushings or something.
Both top and bottom do it. See there?
Yep. So
we got bushings, and we got a new shaft. So yeah, and we got a new piece here. This is wore too.
Oh yeah, I did get a different one of them because of that, and that looks like this right here.
And we got this because this is wore. I mean, this work, but it's really wonky.
Yeah, and then this one here would look better on there.
Yeah.
And
that sets your choke.
One other major difference between this carburetor, the bowl actually is off to the side, and it has a little plug on the top here. On the M74B, it actually like mounts up underneath of it, and it locks underneath the body. Just wanted to mention that the bowls between the 3-bolt Linkert and the 4-bolt Linkert, they don't interchange. So on the float bowls here, this is the one we're going to be using. This is the decent one. We're going to take the rest of the parts out here, and we got this ready to come out. And anyway, we need to get inside there and be able to build the float when we go to put it back together, because we got the rubber ducky style float here for the M series Linkert, and this set here of parts has the little part that holds the float bowl, the float actual clip thing. And
it's just a cover.
okay, so this top nut here, this plug is actually like just a cover. We took this other one apart, but anyway, on the bottom of these things, this is where the fuel comes in. It comes in through a strainer right here, and which looks like this, or like this one here has it on it. Yeah, this is the original style one. This is actually a 39-341 style strainer, and you can get them from Colony, like as you see here. It's a gas strainer assembly. There's like a little screen inside of it. You can take them apart even and clean them out too. They separate each other from each other, 2 pieces. And it's exact duplicate of the OEM part number shown there, 3623-39. And this is a 9661-1 gas strainer assembly. So that's pretty exciting. It's cadmium to match a lot of the other cadmium stuff on the UH I got. So yeah, otherwise you just take these side screws out that hold the lever for the float in there, and they'll be able to clean this bowl up really nice. Here we got the choke shaft here. It's in pretty good shape. This kit here comes with a new one. I'm not sure how far we'll go into using new parts, but this kit that here I got from 45 Restoration, that has like pretty much everything in it for this carburetor. It has new plugs. It has all kinds of. It has the discs, both discs. It has this jet right here, which sits up into the Venturi, and then this other piece down here. I mean, and it has a part for the float and body screws, springs. I mean, it's complete. We'll dig into that and we'll show you the real breakdown. But anyways, here's the lever. We have that removed. We have the throttle shaft removed too. Throttle shaft, look at that, it's all wore. Got some really bad wore spots right here. I mean, I could feel a ledge here on this. So the actual bushings in the body are in really good shape, or they're in pretty good shape compared to. This is where I took all the wear, not the bushings is what I'm trying to say. We'll double check them with the new shaft because we can't reuse this one, and we'll see how far the bushings are gone or not. And yeah, moving along here, getting ready to go put it in the carb choke cleaner, the body. I already got the float bowl in there already. Okay, so here's the parts kit all laid out here. We got the spring that holds this jet up in there into the body. We have the bushings repair for the main body of the carburetor on the shaft. And I'll just point out a few things here. This is these 2 pieces go together and they lock in the part for the float bowl, float
hinge.
Yep. And there's a bunch of little body screws, fiber washers, plugs. These things are hard to find. They're actually little plugs that you can take out. There's the ones out of the curb. Yep. And then well, the problem with I guess I'm seeing here with a lot of this is the reproduction stuff is all not brass like the original parts are. Like
this one and this one's different.
And it's not a huge deal to me, but this is what the brass plug looked like when it came out. I mean, it's a brass one, and this is what you're going to use to replace it. It's pretty close. Looks pretty neat. A nice looking new shaft here, and then the other shaft here. So we did get the old one of them out. It's right here. It's actually pretty clear. I'm pretty surprised on that. That's pretty nice. And we got a couple other carburetors here that we could use for parts, but we don't have enough parts to make these all work. But these are a couple more 4 bolts, and I thought about running these on the 56. But these are actually carburetors off different bikes. These are M45A, which is off of like a 50 pan head. It was like a field repair or something. I was reading somewhere. And then this 36, yeah, M36. This is off of a 48 pan head. So according to the numbers and the history and stuff. So yeah. So anyways, it's kind of neat. But otherwise, they're pretty good shape. But anyway, they're nice to look at. That's for sure. They'd be better if they were complete. But yeah, going forward here, we're ready to put this into the carb choke cleaner stuff, and we have pretty much everything opened up, so it can clean out really well. And some places we're not gonna mess with because I'm okay with it because I don't have replacement parts like this over here. I'm gonna leave it like that. It's kind of rough looking, but it's gonna work. It still works fine and it moves easily. And it's just tarnished a little bit, and then the bolt here holding it in, it's a little rusty, but it's okay. This is all hidden behind the air cleaner cover anyway, pretty much. So we'll go get that washed up. So we got the new shaft in there, and we can see that the bushings are wore. It's a lot better than it was because the shaft's in better shape, but
Still wore.
It's still wore. So we'll replace those before we put this in the carb choke cleaner. And we have the Venturi out. This is the Venturi, and there's a whole bunch of different ones out there. They're all replaceable. They all interchange and everything. There's anything from a bomb sight one, which is a well-known one, and then we have this size, which goes in the M51. And we could buy a different one, or I could look for a different one if I decide to make it an M51L, make it the bigger one. But I think we'll just stick with this, probably clean it up so it's nice, and then use it. I just removed this float here from the old body here, and there's a special nut that holds it in, along with this long little small screw, and it has to be mounted to this new piece here on this. And the instructions for this rubber ducky style float, it talks all about that. We'll go over that when we start putting it together, but just kind of wanted to show that off a little bit, how got that apart there. And yeah, anyway, it's kind of interesting because at first I was like, how is that going to work, because that huge screw hole there, so I was missing a key component there, and that was the part that was on this one. So it's kind of nice that I had this extra bowl here, because this other carburetor was incomplete and didn't have all of it, and these two pieces, which are vital, didn't come with this set, which ain't a big deal. It seems how I got it. Otherwise I would have a hard time finding these parts. So we're working on taking the bushings out. We got this little homemade little puller device here, and we slightly tapped the bushings, and he threaded that into it, and then he's going to back out the bushing by pulling it out with this. See how well this works.
Oh,
Yep, there we go. Sweet.
it's right here.
Nice. So now I'll be able to just press these in. So here we go. We got our homemade little installation tool for the bushings here. And the bushings, they have a little taper on the one end. And you got to make sure that it starts with that end. So that's how we have it right now.
Wherever it is. Where's your other one?
You must be over there. But anyways, oh, there it is. Underneath the carb. So there's the tapered end. You see that? I think if it focus would work. Yeah, there we go. You know, start on that end. Just pull it through with this tool.
You should pull it relatively easy.
And then we want it to be flush. We don't want it protruding too far to the inside, right?
Right.
We'll work on this and get the other one installed too. So we got the new bushings installed now. We're testing out the shaft.
About a 1,000th play or two.
Yeah, I ain't moving at all.
It's real free.
All right, off to a good start here. Let's go clean this up now, I think, right?
Yeah.
All right, the carb body is sitting in the carbon choke cleaner right now. But anyways, I was turning the pages a couple here and came across how he's replacing a throttle shaft bushing in this Palmer book here. and he's using a 1764 drill bit, and he's drilling out a little bit of the material, and then later down in this picture he's tapping it with a 5/16 tap, which is exactly what we showed, but we used a screw and actually pulled it out. But on the next page here he talks about using an old throttle shaft, which we could have done, but we didn't. What would end up happening is if you messed up a little bit, you could bend the shaft, so you wouldn't want to use a new one. But this worked just as good. But this is how he put it in, but we feel like we put it in a little bit nicer, maybe the way we did it. So the part's still soaking there. I want to talk about a couple things real quick yet, and then we'll dig them out and start putting this carburetor back together. But the M51 was used on the 74 UL and used, and also the W and WL and WLA, all them bikes from the early 40s also. And also there's a website that talks about Linkert carbs, and this guy on here that had done this, I don't know if you can see this very well, but he's got the whole list of all, like pretty much the whole list of every Linkert that's ever made. And maybe this would be a better way to see it, or not even. Okay, here we go. So the whole list of different Linkerts here. So our M51, M61. So there's M51 right here. M51, 37 to 48 UL, 42 to 48 Harley WL, WLD, 42 Harley US Navy. And we see down the next one down, it says F. And then there was M51L. That was used on the UL, or ULH, I mean, and the UH. So that'd actually be the carb that I would really need, but I just happen to have this M51, which isn't a big deal, but you can see that they're in the red there. It's a 1 1/16 Venturi, and then the L is a 1 1/8 Venturi. Okay, so I'm not going to just go through all the research that I've come across or read this whole book out, but I just want to point out a couple more things real quick. So the Venturi on the M51L, certain part number, 1 1/8. The M51 is just one number different. It's a 1 1/16 bore, which is the same Venturi that's used in the M61EL, the 61-inch panhead from 50 to 52, the last years of the EL. The M74B, which we showed a little bit ago, that has an 1 5/16 bore in the Venturi, so it gets bigger yet. So anyway, just wanted to go over that a little bit. And this is a nice, we're gonna go use this print here. This is a really nice print on the parts kit that I have over there we just looked at, and we put some parts in already, like the bushings here, but it shows a spring up here which wasn't there in the carb, but when we took it apart, and there's the other part there we're gonna leave. Talks about all this other stuff, all the part numbers, everything. This is the place to go. 45 Restoration Company, there's their phone number, but it's 45restorations.com or 45 Parts Depot. So yeah, that's pretty nice stuff there. They have pretty much everything you're looking for. Venturis, they got kits, they got all kinds of stuff. So I'll just make sure that that's the actual website, and then in a little bit here to verify it, and then we'll get working on this stuff. Yeah, so here's the website. Yeah, 45restoration.com. I think the 45 Parts Depot was a different company at one time. I might have misspoken there, but 45 Restoration Company has everything from the Linkert, which is a lot of the parts are relevant in both the ULs and UHs, and you just gotta know which parts you're looking for. And then they also have generator stuff here, which is, across the board for both Big Twins and the 45s. But yeah, really nice place. I get a lot of stuff from this place. Here we got the M51 out of the carb choke cleaner. It didn't, it cleaned up a lot of the grime and stuff, and probably the passages, but it didn't, didn't make the brass shiny anymore. To do that, we'll probably use like something like Neverdol or something. We might do that. But the main differences between this M51 and like the M74B or like this M36 here is these 4-bolt ones are an 1.5-inch carburetor. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. And then this is an 1.25-inch carburetor. So Venturis that are in the 1.25-inch series will all interchange, and Venturis in the 1.5-inch series, they will all interchange. And there isn't much difference in the 1.5-inch stocks. I think they're mostly 1 5/16 on this size. And the other thing to consider is the way the float bowls sit on the bottom here. I wanted to clear this up too. Is the reason why it sits like this on the overhead valves is because the carburetor is on the right side of the motor on the overhead valve engines, and it's on the left side of the motor on the flatheads. So they have to position the fuel feed line in a different spot so it can avoid, the cylinders and stuff. So that's why it's offset a little bit, from what I can tell when I've been reading or figured out with these things. So we're getting ready for the next stage of cleaning this up, but I want to talk about the Venturis before we get too carried away with going on to the next step. Venturis for the M51 are 1 1/16 inside diameter, and then we're gonna turn around and make this an M51L. I've decided now finally, but all we're gonna do there is just bump this out a 1/16 to 1 1/8. So that's still a real change there. Venturis on this one, I think it's mostly just 1 5/16 for the 4 bolts, from what I can tell on that list, on that LinkertCarbs.com list that I showed a little bit ago. And the real main things you got to do to make these things work better, or to actually fix them, is these bushings wore out, like we did earlier. That's really the only major thing we really got to fix on these things. The other thing with the Venturis is these original pot metal ones. I don't know what they're made of exactly, just tin and zinc and stuff, probably. And they actually shrink when they get hot a little bit. And they talk about how that's kind of a major problem with the original Venturis. You want these to be really tight when they go in. This one was kind of tight coming out, but the new one I'm going to be getting from Colony is an aluminum one, and I don't have to worry about that no more. And that'll be the ticket for this, I believe. And and then you can tell you'll have carb problems when you're running this thing if your bushings are wore. You'll allow air to leak by that shaft, and that's another problem with these. But other than that, that's the two major problems, and they're real mechanically simple carburetor. They should function. I read and how people just love these things, and I think that's going to be the ticket for this 40UH, having a Linkert on it. I started messing around with cleaning it up with this stuff, and this stuff seems to work okay. It takes a lot of effort, and you gotta let it sit, and you gotta scrub on it and stuff. And there's other stuff called like brass holding. We're gonna try that next and see how that results come out from that. But some of these, according to the Palmer book, some of these carburetors were actually painted black back in the day. So like 48. I was just looking at a 48 in the Palmer book, and it talked about and then one of the pictures it says, notice the black painted carb body. And well, this could be black paint actually. So it's hard to tell though right now, but even with that, I think the 56 is supposed to have a black painted carb body, and I'm not going to do that I don't know. I just think the brass looking Linkert is way sweeter looking than getting rid of that, the main brass look of it. So, but we'll work on this one a little bit in a different video. I'll mention that again because we're going to switch out the needles and stuff and just make it look a little bit prettier. But it doesn't really need rebuilt because it looks like it already has been at one time. But that'll come up later. But yeah, anyways, it's just kind of rough. Well, we'll see how this cleaner works. Well, we tried Brasso on this, and it'll work really well. It'll clean this up really nice, but it requires effort also because it's a paste, and you gotta put it on there and then polish on it with a rag or something. And I just want to avoid that too. I think I want just kind of an easier way of doing it. I found something else, but this Brasso stuff works on a lot of stuff, and it's really good stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna bash it. I mean, it'd be good if I wanted to sit here and polish on every nook and cranny, but I'm looking for a bath thing. So I found this here. It's called Quick Shine, and it's a brass and copper bath. Stuff that's like, it looks like it's made in England or something. And what you do is you just take one of them little packets, put it in some water, and it's really simple instructions. So we're going to try this out. So you got to place the quick shine sachet in your sink or plastic bowl. Do not open the sachet, if I'm saying that right. A packet. That's what I'll call it. I'll call it a packet. That's what we would call it here. So anyways, it'll clean the average household's entire brass and copper collection, since additional articles may be immersed after the first batch. And then it talks about how much you got, how much to put in, and then not supposed to use it on certain types of brass, which we're good here because this is all just brass only. It doesn't have any sort of like delicate finishes or any sort of like paint on it or anything weird like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and just get this all ready up here and then try it. You know, looking at this box, I'm thinking this carburetor's gonna turn out really shiny if this if it's gonna look like this at the end, like it does in this picture. That might be a little bit too gaudy for some people, but brass and bronze and copper, they all tarnish in the air over time by themselves. Touching it with our fingers, getting oil on it, all that kind of stuff will make it dull down to a nice muted color, probably like this M74B is right here. That means it's going to look kind of like this probably eventually. All nice and even instead of having shiny spots here and there and so on. So, yeah, anyway, going to make this up now. All right, so I got the packet in this tub right here. We're going to use to bathe the Linkert carburetor with. There's that quick shine stuff, and it says on the back here for instructions, it says add hot water as follows. For heavily tarnished copper, 1 to 2 liters. For normally tarnished, I'm going to consider this as heavily tarnished, even though it might be normal tarnished, but anyways, because all you're doing is diluting it. So if it's really for normally tarnished stuff, it gets 4 to 6 liters, and they're just diluting it to where you don't need as much strength. But in this instance, we're going to do 1 to 2 liters. So I'm going to put 2 liters of hot water there, like it says. And it says 2 liters on it. So I would like to have it submerged, but that probably won't be the case here because of how strong it is. But anyways, it just says to leave the item in the immersed for 5 minutes, then rinse warm with soapy water, and you'll wipe each piece dry. It will shine like new. So, of course, they have it in all kinds of different languages, which is beneficial to some people. And let's get started, I guess. Does it say anything about letting it sit for a while before you put it in? No, it doesn't. So it's already dissolved. It looks like in the bag. It's like almost empty looking because it had like that powder in it. Did you see that before? All right, let's see what happens here. Yeah, 5 minutes, huh? Well, we'll come back. I don't really want to sit here and stare at it for 5 minutes. So it's been 5 minutes, not totally submerged. I tried rolling it over a little bit so it got everywhere. But I noticed a little tip on the box here. This top tip right here. To restore old, neglected, or heavily tarnished items, follow the above instructions, but leave the pieces immersed overnight. They'll come out bright and shiny. Well, you know what? I guess to do that, I need to have it totally submerged. So we'll put another packet in, add 2 more liters of water, and it just doubles the amount, making it more, and won't dilute it any. So I'll do that, and then see if this thing will be totally submerged. It won't, and see, it looks like 24 hours, I guess, or overnight would be like. It'd be 24 hours. It'd probably be like 16 or something from now until I come back out. So we'll see how that goes. I don't want to hurt nothing. Here we are. We got 2 packets in there now. 4 liters of water, and it's totally submerged. So the carburetor body should be totally covered now with the liquid as it fuses or diffuses into the liquid, the water. And I guess we'll let it sit overnight like we were just saying and see what it looks like then. And we'll come back and see it again. Well, here we are. We got the carb out of that quick wash bath, and look at there. It looks really nice now. I mean, it's not, you didn't get all of it off, but it's really good compared to how it was. And yeah, we're ready to run it like this. So we're ready to build this up. So I'm getting the parts all laid out here, and we're ready to start putting this together. So we'll go over the parts again real quick, and as we put them in and build this carburetor. Got all the parts laid out here. We're ready to start putting this together. So first off, we put the venturi in. We slide it right in there. That's the new one. And drop that jet down in there to lock it into place. And we can go from there.
The spring will hold it in place once you put the bowl on.
Right. So we also got the plugs installed here. It gets 2 plugs. This style carburetor gets 2 plugs down here. The M74B gets like a
and there's
jet or something there.
Body plug there.
So we put them all back in, and now we're ready to put the shafts and stuff in.
We gotta put one in here.
So yeah, that's sitting there. Yeah, that the venturi went with was for the M51L is the 1 1/8 inside diameter venturi. And then, yeah, that's all that we really. Oh, and then we decided to go with the brass plug on top of the float bowl instead of that cadmium plated one, just because the original one was brass, and just kind of want to put some of the original parts back in that are in good shape.
Okay.
Now
we're ready for that. Let's have the plug so that way this don't fall out. So we can just.
Okay, that's right here.
We'll just turn it on here for now, so that way while we're moving it around, it doesn't fall apart. There. The recess is for the screw head. So number out.
Yeah, I remember that.
Number.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that because
it's taped. These are tapered. They may not look like it, but they are.
Yeah, either it's going to shut or it won't shut when you go remove it. The screws are laying here somewhere. There they are.
Now we should put Loctite on these.
Yeah, we don't want them backing out, falling in.
Here we go. Get a bigger handle.
Yeah, I definitely don't want these falling inside.
No.
Awesome. Okay, we noticed something when we were taking it apart, and we saw it in the print. There's actually a spring that goes on top of here. Oops, there we go, this right here. And it looks like this.
Yeah, it wasn't there.
We want to make sure we put that on. And then, of course, there's our lever if you want to put that on yet or not. But
yeah, we don't have to, we won't know where to set it yet until, yeah, like that. That's how it goes. Actually, we do know where to set it.
Yeah, and then
because one way it's closed The other way it's open.
Right. And then there's this colony kit. This is the swivel and the wire block for the top of that. And that's a 26. Yeah, is that 26? 2658-5. It comes with the block, the screw, the brass washers, and a cotter pin to lock it to it. Screws to lock the wire from the throttle cable wire into that block. We got the block installed here. It gets one washer below, right next to the cotter pin, and the print doesn't show one up here on top, so that we got an extra one with that kit. So yeah, now I know something else here. We can pretty much do anything next.
This goes on which side here? It goes over here. This goes like this.
Yeah, because that other piece.
Right?
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah, because that other piece locks into that, moves it.
And this is on the top or the bottom?
Looks like bottom in this print here.
It's on the bottom. Okay.
There you go, getting better. Holes line up and stuff, it should be falling into place, but you also want to make sure that if the holes don't line up perfectly, it actually closes and opens.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
It looks a little crooked over there. I think we're sitting good. Right?
Yeah. Got the whole wall Loctite these screws too, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to suck one of these in.
Yeah, and this piece here cleaned up pretty good. And we put a new spring in there. This is what rides along there and keeps it in position.
That's not the screwdriver. But he got me in there a little ways.
Here we are.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I gotta keep that ball from falling out now.
It's like a video game.
Okay. Yeah, video game.
I gotta have a little screwdriver.
It took both of us to kind of finagle that in there. But there's a long pin screw thing that you gotta drive in there and line up.
Did we test that first?
The shaft?
Yes.
No, I don't think we tested the shaft.
This doesn't want to fit. Figures. Looks like it's off. See how it's off?
Yeah, dang aftermarket parts. There we are. We got the special screw to fit inside the shaft now, so it should line up now. It was just a little on the small size for just to fit in there. So we'll work on that ball thing again. It's you gotta press down the whole disc while you push the other part in. It's a pain in the butt. Maybe we're getting better at it. Maybe you can do it this time, but
Okay, ready?
yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. Did it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Huh?
If it lined up before, I don't see why it don't line up now.
Yeah, it was pretty close. It was just to get the pin to go in there. Yeah, see, it works. Yep. Just I don't know if it's in the right spot, but we can always mess that later. Kind of only goes one way, don't it? Yeah.
I guess.
It looks like it does.
Yeah, but the pin's not going through the hole. So. It's kind of tight. Is that the way it's supposed to be?
Yeah, because their cleaner sits right there and
Yeah, I
it's on the
know.
outside of it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Don't go to the inside.
No. Not that I know of. And then that's as far as it goes. It's actually engaged into the pin went into the outside of the lever.
Yeah. It went in there. It went in there.
It was just a little bit because the other one was loose as heck and kind of like happened. It just got a little bit bent. We got it straight now and good to go. Yeah, we can work on putting that on now, I guess.
Yep.
We got that piece installed there. I got the cup in there for that line up. And then that needle flexes a little bit on the head thing there, so that way it can line up.
Yep. Goes down in there.
Of course, we don't know where you need to set it at, so.
Not yet. Yeah.
No idea. All right.
Okay. Now we're going to do the high-speed one.
Yeah. That one's got it's right here. Here's the
Power
high-speed
jet.
one.
High-speed power jet. Really? Ouch.
They're sharp.
Yeah. Okay. That one's in there.
Cool. I think all we have left is the bowl. Yeah. So on the float bowl, we got to set up like this. We got a cap on the top there. And then we got to make sure that the float level is 1/4 of an inch. And sitting straight across, and there's this screw and then the screw with the pin in it that locks the needle catch piece in here in the middle. The lever prongs go into the needle and go into that brass piece that slides up through the bottom. And make sure we tighten our plug up on the bottom with the with actual like a
Quarter
fiber
inch.
washer.
I don't know if we're a quarter inch. How are we supposed to do this? Bend this?
I think you're supposed to move it around like that until you get it a quarter of an inch. Is what we're seeing here.
We're a far cry from quarter inch.
So in this book here, it talks about attention to the float bowl. Over here, checking your float level. It talks about how you don't bend it while it's in the bowl because it can bend the levers and the fingers. So you need to take it all apart and bend it a little bit if you need to adjust it at all. So that keeps you from damaging it. Otherwise, it'll develop a loss of motion between the float and needle.
Don't worry about tightening them. Yet.
Yeah, you might have to do this again.
I might be doing this 2-3 times. Ooh.
We got a long ways to go yet.
No, I think I went too much.
Oh.
I got more than a quarter
Oh,
now.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Don't bend on the float.
Yeah. Like the book says. Maybe next time. Yeah, we're just getting back here and tightening it up now. And check again, see what we got for a measurement.
Bigger. There it is. Let's set the measure it upside down, right? There's a quarter inch.
Awesome. All right, well, then we can just like finish buttoning this up and call it a video, I guess. Got to take this cap off here and work on that, and then button it up, and we'll see it all finished up here.
Okay, which side does this go on?
To the front of the motorcycle, so that would be,
Over here.
yeah, that side.
On that
Okay.
side. That's what I was asking.
Yep.
This side.
We're going to leave this all loose for now because we got to hook up a hard line. So when we go to install it, and probably the next video, we'll do all the final tightening on all that stuff. Along with crimping that brass,
Did you put the
copper.
the white part up? You want it that way, or you want it the other
Well, as
way?
long as it's good. Both surfaces are sealing, so I mean.
I guess it don't matter. We'll put this up against the metal.
And then this strainer has to be tightened on the bottom of this. And then that pretty much is the end of this little video. I'll leave that.
That's where the gas line goes.
Yep, exactly. That's a lot different than when we started. So, well, I hope you enjoyed everything on this. It's going to come to an end on this, and we're going to be working
We got to
on.
set the jets.
Yeah.
We got to set the preliminary settings. It talks about it in here.
So when we go to put this on the bike, I think we'll work on that segment. But this is pretty much just building the Linkert carburetor from having a original used one to a nice looking used one. So hope you enjoyed everything, like I said, and we'll see you again soon.